Thank you, Sophia. It's such a great opportunity to be here to talk about something that is really exciting. I mean, we were at a panel before talking about centralized exchange, and I'm not sure that they were very positive about DeFi, but here I am with three experts. So something that I thought was very interesting is the fact that actually technical foundation are shaping the future of finance and actually DeFi. And all of these amazing guys, they have got a technical background. So let's go around for some introduction, and maybe you can say how do you think, or how important is this technical background that you have got to develop the future of financial product?
So hi everyone. My name is Sergej Kunz. I am co-founder of 1inch. My background is technical. I'm software engineer, software architect for 20 years. Some words to 1inch maybe. 1inch is the first aggregator among decentralized exchanges. We invented it on a hackathon and a competition back in 2019. And nowadays we offer multiple services, non-custodian wallets, dev portal, software as a service for onboarding developers, and also doing nowadays cross-chain swaps among different networks and to improve the user experience here in the space. So regarding the topic that I'm a software engineer, contribute to innovate traditional finances by introducing decentralized finance in Web3. It's really a funny thing. So I had no idea about traditional finance at all. Have still struggled sometimes with some products what we have right now in traditional space, since the transparency is it's not there, almost not there, I would say. It's difficult also to build products for the traditional finances. That's why I decided as a software engineer to play around with Web3. Actually, back to the days, it was just crypto and blockchain and Ethereum. When we started back in 2018, we as developer, we have more tools, more possibilities. It's open environment. We can build money Legos on top of money Legos. So what we have actually did with 1inch, we aggregate among Uniswap, Kyber, and Banker in the first hackathon night. And it opens possibilities and also introduce into innovations. Yeah, also helps innovation to be built in this space.
Right.
Hey everyone, Mounir, founder at ParaSwap. Like Sergej, I also have a software engineering background for a few years. And ParaSwap started as an experiment. I wanted to build a DEX in the beginning, and after a few iterations, ended up building what I call now a middleware that allows other dApps to access markets that are similar to what 1inch is doing. And the particularity is our focus is more on the B2B side. So we empower protocols like Aave. So not only to make swaps, but also to optimize APIs, to repay loans with collaterals and all of that. Particular interest in Intents was since the beginning, because I always thought that the way we access DEXs and on-chain trading is way too complex, and that also relates a lot to the history of ParaSwap, because when I started, I wanted to build something for retail, for everyone, which didn't work at all. Like nobody literally was interested, just because of the complexity to access the product. So I think Intents, what they unlock is this abstraction of the on-chain complexity in terms of gas abstraction, but also in terms of user protection, like MEV resistance and all of that. So I think Intents is the next logical evolution of on-chain trading in crypto and Web3 in general.
Hello, everyone. I'm Luis Pastor. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Tritemius, which is a venture capital and a venture builder. I'm a computer engineer myself too. I started on this being part of a startup in Singapore, originally as an exchange, ended up pivoting to tokenize art, like that was long time ago. And I spent most of these years working close to the industry, working close to the institutions. And at some point, what I felt that was interesting to me, I had a lot of things to learn about finance. That was something that as an engineer I had to learn. But the way the things were designed from the software engineer's point of view amazed most of the financial people because of the efficiencies that they were made by DeFi and basically were provided to not only the centralized exchanges, but the whole chain of value. And that's something that I'm particularly interested, not only as an investor, but also as a supporter of DeFi, as I really see that this efficiencies, transparency is going to drive the next future of finance for the next 10, 20, 30 years.
Thank you, Luis. So I wanted to start with the definition that you use, Sergej. Internet-based financial product. So that's interesting. And what is also very interesting is the fact that these DeFi products, they are very different from the product that exists in traditional finance. So can you maybe elaborate a little bit more? What do you mean about internet-based financial products? And perhaps you can maybe talk about some of the products that you are working at 1inch. They are revolutionary compared to traditional finance.
So in general, if you look into the history of decentralized finance in Web3, we have seen people thinking about how we can build financial instruments in our nice open environment on EVM base, for example. So founder of Gnosis came to an idea to introduce an AMM and published on blog post the formula, mathematical formula, what was used after that by Hayden Adams to build the Uniswap. The MM-based protocol, not the first one. The first one was Banker, actually. No one knows. Yeah, and it was revolutionary. So such products are actually something. We have something similar in traditional finance, but they are not open to everyone. So our technology offer to innovate and rethink how we can build financial products in a completely different way and more efficient way. So in terms of intense-based protocols, this is a next step for the industry in general. So at the beginning, everyone was taking care about creating transactions by themselves, sending transactions to the mempool, and getting front-run by sandwich attackers, math bots, and of course we were looking for a different approach, and intent-based approach is one of the solutions. Of course, there are some also disadvantages, what we see in terms of, I don't know, settlement, for example. But these risks are on the professional executor. So we try to split. We try to split in two different domains. One domain, user-centric product, and the other domain is infrastructure environment. So user-centric now became very, very well got a very well environment in terms of how they use now Web3. Now, for example, for intent-based protocols like Uniswap X, our Fusion Plus, our cross-chain product, the user, and also ParaSwap launched an intent-based protocol. User just sign an order, sign intent, what they want to get, what they want to achieve, and actually don't think what's happening under the hood. The protocol on a smart contract just ensure how it's going to be executed, and also how it's going to be securely executed for the user. And this offer really a lot of new possibilities. So user gets seamless experience, similar to centralized exchanges. So right now, if you swap with our 1inch Fusion, what we launched 5 days ago, cross-chain, you just don't even need to create a transaction. You just sign an off-chain order, and this is how it should be. So, and this can actually disbalance the whole market with centralized exchanges from our point of view. People are using centralized exchanges, how already said on the panel before, because they need kind of bridges. You know, they need to bridge from one blockchain to another blockchain, exchange Bitcoin against, I don't know, SUI token or something. And it's now possible with DeFi, and we are setting also on standards. So Uniswap is working, for example, on standard together with Acros, and we are joining as well. I hope ParaSwap will also join us as well to define a standard how we should work intent-based cross-chain to improve the user experience.
Interesting. Mounir, can you expand on that and talk a little bit about liquidity? Because it's kind of been a challenge, but there are ways that you are looking to aggregate this liquidity and also to bootstrap liquidity in DeFi.
Well, I think definitely internet protocols help a lot on liquidity because if you think about it, it's like an egg and chicken problem. You need liquidity in order to drive volume, but also liquidity is incentivized by volume. And the architecture that intents provide, there are different ways of building intents. But one way is what we call batching, where we can split orders in multiple chunks, or like batch auctions as 1inch are doing, where instead of like having a one or like a one fill or nothing, we can split the order into different chunks. It can be either through pricing or through different auctions. Like we provide like, I don't know, split the order like 20%. So each 20% is going to be proposed as an auction to solvers or agent, how we call them. That helps on maximizing the filling rates and maximizing like liquidity, you can say, for end users. But also helps on providing better pricing for users, because each time you create an auction, it means competition, which means also like providing better value for users. So I think aggregators in general help a lot on improving liquidity, because simply they generate volume and they can just make up for whatever is available, and that like solves the volume problem, but in sense takes it to even another level that didn't exist before.
Thank you. I want to talk a little bit about investment. So, Louis, as an investor, what kind of innovation are you looking at to support the DeFi ecosystem?
Well, the DeFi ecosystem is complex. There are obviously many kind of platforms and products. What we are looking at, as we started and we have a period of investment of around 10 years, we are looking at easy-to-use platforms that at some point are going to bring more adoption, not only from crypto natives, but also from people that average users with no technical expertise, that they really need to use this technology on their daily lives. And I'm sure like that's going to happen, not only in regions that needed it because their economies are not that good, but only in other regions like Europe, for example. Our focus is mainly in Europe and Latin America. So I think that ourselves in Europe, even though the regulation is a big topic here, so we'll see the institutions jumping into this. So I believe that we are going to see DeFi as a service platforms that are going to be used by institutions, real world assets, and that's something that we are quite interested. At the same time, also we look at Latin America and countries like, for instance, like Argentina, that they have, and they're creating now a pro-crypto regulation, which is super interesting for everyone. They need this technology. By the way, 4 out of 10 wallets in Latin America are open in Argentina. That's something really interesting, and we are looking at that market. The developers are super top. And in a nutshell, so we want to look at startups and platforms that favor adoption with easy to use interfaces. Also, in terms of security, something that we really need is these platforms that provide real monitoring auditing. That's something that we are looking at. At the same time, I think that we are seeing more and more products related to insurance. That's something, DeFi insurance products. That's something that we hope to happen in the next few years. And I would say that also related to liquidity, we are looking at obviously solvers, agents, that they are unifying liquidity, any other kind of providers that are going to be there. That's something that is gonna happen. And the last one I would say that is interesting, intent-based architectures are quite interesting for aggregation, but are also interesting for many other topics. And we start to see startups on lending and borrowing that they provide these architectures that can bring the good things of DeFi, and at some point with a better user interface, with a better experience, less problems on security, probably more liquidity.
I'm really glad that you mentioned the point about security, because that's a big concern, and that's why we have got regulation kind of be on DeFi so much. So Sergej, security. How do you approach this topic, and what you are doing to mitigate risk on 1inch?
For our last release, Fusion Plus, the cross-chain intent-based swaps, atomic swaps, our foundation spent $500,000 for security audits, and we have really small smart contracts. So this is very important for us to to introduce really high grade of security. I guess we are on place number 2 right now on the market with most security audits. The first one is Euler Finance. So they learned from the last hack they faced that security audits are very important. So actually, almost from the beginning, when we were able to pay the security audits, we started to kind of order as much as possible. So as many as possible to audit it. So in terms of security, we should also think about compliance. It's not just security in terms of smart contract or backend services or front-end services like applications. It's also in terms of compliance. We see a lot of hacks happening. There's a hacker group, North Korean hacker group, hacking around. They are very successful, and they exchange assets on decentralized exchanges, on aggregators as well. So intent-based approach, the architecture itself allows to introduce also high grade of compliance, because now you have additional layer where you can just monitor that the user who is malicious actors, a hacker with dirty funds stolen from someone, cannot really create an order or share it with the network. So also resolvers, our professional market makers, arbitrage traders, pro traders who are involved as executors, they also have own compliance in place, use also TRM labs. So at 1inch we have multiple checkpoints. We have also our own compliance team, security team, who is sitting, try to cover the whole globe in terms of time zone, and watch and monitor, and also set on a blacklist those malicious hackers who try to exchange assets on 1inch network. This is very important in terms of also regulation. So MiCA regulation separated centralized approach, decentralized approach, but anyway, if there are no specific rules in terms of decentralized exchanges, DEXs, and aggregation itself, then we from our side, we try to just set standards to ensure that we have really clean environment, and we prepare us also for institutional grade customers with a new additional product that we plan to launch next year. It was also huge learning for us to understand what the institutionals need, what kind of high grade compliance. And based on this experience, we have built our intent-based protocol to be able to introduce full KYC environment for the user, KYB as well for the business customers, and also on the professional market maker side, on the resolver side, also high grade of compliance. Right now we are doing also KYB on the resolver, so no one is operating as a resolver at 1inch without passing KYB and passing the ML screening from our 1inch Foundation.
So it's kind of the plan to integrate all these safety measures to make DeFi platforms more appealing to also traditional finance player.
Yeah, we need to become seriously. Yeah. So, and we are seriously here to innovate, to adopt the standards, the really world standards with what we need to follow. If you don't follow, you see what happens with Tornado Cash. So unfortunately, they had not enough time to do that. Maybe I'm not sure, but I would like to avoid this situation in our aggregator industry, that someone faces these challenges in life.
Mounir, do you have anything to add on the security regulation aspect?
No, I think Sergej framed it very well. I would add also something very important in this space is the quality of the teams. So I think nobody should do any compromise on especially people who are working on the critical parts like building the smart contracts, monitoring the system, or anything that has to do with the exchange, which maybe covers the whole team. An example that happened to us, we had a few months ago, like 6 months ago, on exploits, where our team was able to, like in few hours, do a white hat and recover the $3.5 million. And that's something that was very complex, a very complex operation. So I think the quality of teams plays a huge role in the safety, but also if something was to go wrong, you have also always the right team to cover for it and like secure the users and make them safe.
So you mentioned about the hack. So one of like the challenges that is still relevant in crypto is not just DeFi, is governance. So governance is kind of like, I think it's like a humanity problem. And the one token, one vote doesn't work, and you know, rug pulls and stuff like that. So how can we think about making governance more decentralized system powered by a better governance?
I think what protocols are doing right now, I mean, yeah, I agree. It's very naive to assume that like one vote is going to secure the protocol. That's very naive because simply that you can have governance attacks. And we've seen that with Compound, I think a few weeks ago. What I think works, there's no playbook, right? Because it's still an emerging space. There's a playbook that works where you have some service providers. That's what Aave, Morpho are doing, where they have contractors who work with the DAO and have like a system of guardians that are also voted by the DAO. And you have criteria. It's like a constitution. Like how can you qualify to be a guardian? How can you qualify to be a service provider? And what kind of responsibility? And then the day-to-day operations look like a normal project, like a normal company, because the service providers have all the flexibility, and DAO holders, they can veto, but that's a process that takes time. So I think we have like the benefits of centralization between codes while still being decentralized. That's what have like came up with as an ecosystem, as a solution so far. Whether it's gonna stay or maybe it's gonna evolve, we will see. Time will tell.
Luis, if you have anything to add on that, and also you mentioned before about bringing DeFi to the next level and kind of improve liquidity. Is AI playing a role in this?
Well, I mean, just regarding cybersecurity and governance, two very important topics. I just think that just related to cybersecurity, there is a framework in banking that is called DORA, that is about cyber resilience, that is super complex. I hope that that's never applied to DeFi because of the complexity, but still, like we can get some learnings out of that into the DeFi industry. Related to the AI, I think that well, we are still on a lot of hype about AI. We know that it's powerful and we can all use it for many different things, but still, we have room of improvement. We see that it could provide a level of abstraction on top of intents, for instance. That could be like writing prompts on basically natural way to speak in terms of coding. You don't need to code anything. You just need to speak to the machine, your intents. That would be much easier. But there's, by the way, a startup in the event in the pitch battle that is doing right that AI with intents. But having said that, I think that we have to be aware of the limitations of AI in terms of we don't really know sometimes behind the scenes what can happen there in terms of the code weaknesses. And also it could be that at some point the automations that we are seeking here are not working that well as we expect. We are focused, I know, on the what, not on the how, but sometimes we can probably, that level of abstraction can be complex, and that's something that we have to be aware of.
I mean, definitely the DeFi ecosystem has grown up a lot since 2021. So maybe we can kind of close down with some closing remarks from each of you about how you are aiming for this mass adoption, which is one of the DeFi intents, really. And also the element of education, which is still important, and that's why we are all here.
You mean, how do we aim for adoption? What do you think adoption is going to look like? Well, I think definitely, I mean, the topic of today is should be one of the main engines for adoption. So you can imagine now UIs will no longer have like this Connect wallet and install MetaMask and all of this. You would have just like sign in and fill your login and password, and you just need to click a button basically and make your trade-in. So I think now we are very, very close to the Robinhoods and eToros of the world in terms of user experience. We just need, like, that might become a cliche, like the apps. But the good news is that the protocols themselves, like us, 1inch, all of us have apps. So I think we would be also one of the leaders of this mass adoption growth, because we build the tech, but also we build the distribution channels through our partners, but also through our user interfaces. So I think we are very, very close to have this end game type of user experience that where users just need to push a button and do action XYZ, but also with AIs, maybe users will be able to do more complex tasks by just like typing natural language. So I think we're not that far away from this end game that we would like to see, which is like a TradeFi-like user experience where users, or maybe even better than TradeFi, where users just need to push a button to do action XYZ.
So my bet is in the next 5 years we will have stock trading on our tech, stock RWAs, whatever out there, since our technology is most efficient compared to the traditional finance. The traditional finance was built because they had no other options. They started with paper, phone, internet, and now it's time for blockchain-based transparency and efficiency. So that's my bet.
I think the next few years we'll see like mass adoption because the industry grew a lot. Hopefully one healthy DeFi summer. And I believe that all these architectures, intent-based, are bringing the best in DeFi. And hopefully that brings like a lot of adoption for also average users that are not crypto natives, that they need this, they really need these tools. So that's what I hope for the next probably 10 years.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm going to leave the opportunity if any of you want to ask a question. We have just a couple of minutes. Okay, no? So I'm going to ask a question. How important are partnership for you to bring 1inch to the mass adoption, to the integration with TradFi? Are you working on that actively? And also for you, Mounir, as well.
So from our side, it's very important. From the beginning, we just collaborated. So we have built our aggregator on top of other products, Uniswap, Banker, Kyber, who supported us very well. So the whole Web3 is about composability. So it's about to work together, to build together, and also to compete together. So if you take on 1inch in ParaSwap, user get better experience because we compete, and we compete in a healthy manner. We are coming from hackathons, like we are from 1inch. We are hackers, builders who build things on hackathons, on competitions. And we always love to build new things, innovate things, and it's beneficial for the user.
Adding to what Sergej just said, obviously we're competitors, but we were one of the first aggregators to integrate 1inch AMM. So because we see this as a positive sum game for the end user especially. But also the particular path we took with ParaSwap is to focus more in partnerships. So 85% of our volume comes from third parties, and that's made by design, and the protocol is designed to be more optimized for third parties to integrate it than our UI, which is also considered as a partner for the protocol.
Thank you. Last question for Luis. I'm very interested about this emerging market in Argentina. So how big they are in DeFi? Are there any, many product developing, many companies developing DeFi product? I think it's important, we are in Europe and nobody knows what actually is happening in Latin America.
Well, I think that they always in Argentina had the need of crypto because of the economic situation they had in crazy inflation, a lot of things happening with the bank, politicians, unfortunately. A few of my partners are from Argentina. That's why I'm also very aware of what happens there. The talent that they have in crypto is totally amazing. And now that they're going to have this regulation, I expect to have a boom in startups. So there is a few events happening next year, like launching not only the regulation, but also launching startups. A lot of communities are going to be there. I even heard that the DevCon might be there. I'm not sure if that's confirmed. But at some point, I think that Argentina is going to be a leading player in crypto in the next few years.
I read somewhere that there is a big, massive pool of users of USDT in Argentina. So definitely emerging market is a place to watch. Anyway, thank you so much to all my panelists, and thank you all. Enjoy the event.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.